morning. Happy Saturday. It's great to see everyone. I'm Betsy, and I do not have Mags and Greg with me, as you can see. I have the delightful pleasure of co-hosting with Azure and Sandy this morning. So you might think that, oh, Mags and Greg are Canadian, and it is Thanksgiving in Canada this weekend. Happy Thanksgiving to all our Canadians. But that's not what they're doing. They're at a DNA conference. So, and giving a presentation, I believe. So hopefully they'll joining us on the replay.
I don't think there'll be a lot of math here, right? Which one of us is going to do the math?
The what?
The math from Greg.
Oh my gosh.
Not me.
I did do some math in college, but I am no Greg.
And we should probably say blueberries in honor of Mags. There you go.
Biscuits.
Yeah.
Well, let's see who's with us this morning. Brian Nash, How We Got Here Genealogy, was first to arrive. So you get the imaginary prize for that. And we've got Lynette Jester. Hey, Lynette. Who else? Susie Carta, Christine Miller, Audrey Martin from Central Kentucky, and then Melissa Clifford. Hey, Melissa. Hillary from Wales. She says it's rather warm here today. I don't know. It's getting cold in Chicago. Yesterday was the first day when I felt uncomfortable outside and wished I had a heavier coat. Lisa Gervais. Hey, Lisa. Happy Thanksgiving. John Tyner from Ireland. Vic Thor. Happy time zone, everyone. Sharon Haynes. Dee Spencer. Hey, Dee. Spencer Carr. Florian, Flo. Hey, Flo from Germany. We're very international this morning. Chris Ferriello and Vicky from Chile. Hey, Vicky.
And Murray Maloney.
Hey, Murray Maloney. Happy Thanksgiving. Willow Dean Adams, Janet Isles. People are popping in now.
Yeah. Looks like we have about 26. Give us a thumbs up, everybody.
Yep, thank you. Azure, I cannot wait to get that update.
I never know what's going to happen.
That's awesome. And I don't want to miss June Butka and Jonathan Boyer and Amy Gilpin. Biscuits. People are saying June Butka said biscuits. Okay.
And I didn't even have biscuits this morning. This is the same.
Great. I think I caught everybody, and if I didn't, I'm sorry. But I'm still glad you're here. So we're gonna not only mix up who's hosting, but the order of things. So Sandy is going to do the profiles of the week.
And thank you, Azure, for driving the profiles. I missed my two screens. I'm not here. I missed my two screens. So do the profiles relate to Charleston Heston and the co-stars they are most closely connected to, which is kind of cool because he would have been 100 years old this week. And don't you just love his chiseled face and his voice? You can recognize him anywhere when any movie that you see him. But let's go ahead and talk about the profile. So for Charleston Heston himself, his profile on WikiTree. And he won an Oscar for the movie Ben Hur. Excuse me. I'm in the hills, so I think I've got my neck messed up. But for the movie, he learned to drive a chariot and performed 80% of the chariot driving scenes. And if you've ever seen that movie, that's a pretty big accomplishment that he did. I love this profile. I love the background and everything they did for this profile.
Yes.
I love this picture of him. So nice.
I I don't know if I would recognize him if it wasn't for in that young picture, if it wasn't for his eyes right there. You know, his eyes give him away. Oh, that's cool, June. And
Yeah.
he was especially nice to you, right? She goes, briefly, he was nice, right? As we go through the profiles. But definitely, if you have a favorite Charleston Heston movie, because he is the connection that we're basing everything off of this week, drop it in the chat and let us know what your favorite movie of his was. You know, I never really got into Planet of the Apes. Did you guys?
No, I
Oh,
remember it, but
yeah, I turned off the TV. That was like Saturday morning for me, and that was like time to go outside and play as a kid because I just never got into it. Oh, I
really,
didn't know he had a cameo in Friends. That's
what?
cool, Chris.
Tell us more, Chris. Huh.
That's pretty
Oh,
cool.
oh, so in case we're wondering if he was nice to June,
You
yeah,
smiled.
yeah.
How old was he, June? I'm curious. And I can't really tell. I don't know what my favorite movie of his is, but I always tend to pick for these type of stars the old black and white ones. I just tend to lean towards that. Ben-Hur, I think I probably have watched it 5 times, and I'm not sure if I made it to the end every time. It's a long movie. It's a pretty long one. Okay, then let's move on to how about James Coburn, and he co-starred in the Soylent Green. He was kind of interesting as well. Let me pull up my interesting fact on him. Give me 1 second. There's 2 things that were really kind of interesting. So he was a black belt in karate, but he was also best friends with Bruce Lee, and he was a pallbearer at Bruce Lee's funeral.
Oh, that's usually means a very close relationship.
Yeah, and it's interesting because he is like one of those characters you see on TV, movies, things like that, and you know who he is instantly because he also has an extremely recognizable face as well. So he's kind of an interesting guy as we go through. I think he's also one that needs more connections. Is he the Azure? Could you scroll up top and was he the one that was really light on CC7? Yeah. So if anybody has a love for his movies or really likes him, or if you're best friends with Bruce Lee's family or Bruce Lee loved Bruce Lee, come in and add to his tree. That would be really, really cool to add to his tree because he has pretty low CC7. The next one, this one's kind of interesting to me, is Yvonne DiCarlo. And I think everybody will probably remember her for a different role than what she co-starred with. She co-starred in The Ten Commandments with Charleston Heston. She's very, very interesting. So most of us probably know her more because she played Lily, the wife of Herman Munster on The Munsters.
Oh, I can see the result.
Yeah.
I recognize her. Huh.
And it's really funny. She I don't know if she was extremely active actress at the time that she was offered that role, but she did not want the role at all. She did not want to have anything to do with it because she thought it was silly and it was going to damage her serious acting roles and things like that. That's how I know her. And I think most people know her, and it's one of these things where you know the person, you see their face, but you're not really sure who they are, what they played in. So to play with, to be in the movie The Ten Commandments with Charleston Heston, and then go to play, the Lily, the wife from the Munsters, is pretty amazing. And the reason why she did the Munsters, why she was convinced into it, her husband was very ill and had a lot of hospital bills. Health insurance wasn't the same that it is now, and she needed to pay the bills. So she went and played Lily Munster. The next one, I love this one, Faye Dunaway.
Oh.
And Faye Dunaway co-starred in The Three Musketeers with Charleston Heston. She just, at the time, she was considered one of the most best dressed and fashion model type. She was always on all the magazines, but she is extremely private, extremely secretive. You will find very little detail about her out on the web. any the interesting finds trying to come up with Faye Dunaway were a little tricky there. But as I think we all know, she pretty much came to fame with Warren Beatty and Bonnie and Clyde. And I think that's how a lot of us know her. But there's another really, really super famous movie that kind of scares me a little bit to think of. Is anybody know what other really super famous movie she is known for? And I'll give you a hint. She played this movie so well that she got ignored by a lot of Hollywood actor and actresses because it freaked them out that she played it so accurately.
Wow.
I have no idea.
Know. Me neither.
Mommy Dearest.
Oh,
yeah.
And if you think back and you watch that movie, you forget she's acting. I love the movies where the actors are so good that you're immersed into it and you forget that they're actually acting in that. So she got a little bit of pushback. People that back in the day, know Joan Crawford, they got a little freaked out by it because she played it so well. But I love Faye Dunaway. She's one of my favorites. And then one of the guys in the military's favorites is next, Betty Hutton. And Betty Hutton co-starred with Charleston Heston in The Greatest Show. And her interesting fact is she had her own sitcom. I never knew. It was called The Betty Hutton Show. And this is another one where her name was not Betty Hutton. It sounds perfect, but her name was not when she was born. But you get to Hollywood, and Hollywood says, you know what, we're going to change the name, and we're going to make it something different that people can know and relate to and understand. She did a tremendous amount of charity for the military as well. That's cool, Lisa, that she's your closest. And she was always going over to do the charity shows for World War II mostly to entertain the troops.
The USO.
Yeah, and it's interesting that Lisa is 19 and I think it's John was 21. It's kind of interesting to see. So, and then Sharon, who I know is from West Virginia, drops down to 15 degrees. So that's kind of cool to see the different degrees from people that are in the States and also outside the States. So she's definitely a cherished one as well. And then moving on, I did not know this person at all. So I'm probably going to say the name wrong. It's Katie Jurado, and played in with Charleston Heston in Arrowhead.
Okay.
And this is just one that I knew really nothing about, and I think it's really interesting. I love the profile. Whoever did the profile in the background, I really love what they did.
What is it? I can't. Are flowers or?
It looks like roses.
Yeah, roses.
Gorgeous. Yeah.
This one, she was kind of hard to find information about, but I love that this profile is here. Just look at her face. She's just a beautiful person. And again, her name kind of changed a little bit, but she kind of was part of this separate little club with Gary Cooper, Charleston Heston, Anthony Quinn as well, Kirk Douglas, Grace Kelly. So she was right up there with the leading stars of the time. And I love it because she represents more of our international actresses that are paired up with Charleston Heston.
Where was she born?
I believe she was born in Mexico.
Mm-hmm. It would be interesting to know how she was able to, jumpstart
in.
In Hollywood. Yeah.
So. Yeah, she is, and whoever has done Scott. At a Nobles, it's a really great job on this profile. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is really.
Okay, they're moving along. We've got Burt Lancaster.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody probably knows him. Burt Lancaster co-starred on The Greatest Show on Earth with Charleston Heston. And another one that's really recognizable. I didn't know this actually a while when I was looking at these individuals and these actors and actresses last night. I won't lie. I had my husband Mike kind of help look up two of them, and this one he looked up, and I was shocked at the interesting fact for Burt Lancaster. Does anybody know what his last role was? What movie? It was a movie, and I'll give you a couple hints, this little bit of trivia this morning. So Burt Lancaster's last role was a movie that Kevin Costner starred in. And it's one of Kevin Costner's most beloved movies that people love.
Field of Dreams.
Yep, that's it. That's it.
Wow. I mean, I
That's
just
it.
it off of most beloved Kevin Costner movie, and I was like, it has to be Field of Dreams.
Yep, that's what it is. He played Dr. Moonlight, who chose to be a town doctor over a baseball player in Field of Dreams, and that was his very, very last role. So Kevin Costner convinced him to come on. He wasn't, completely feeling up to. He didn't mind the role, but he wasn't really feeling up to acting. But Kevin Costner convinced him to come on just for that. So that was pretty cool.
That is neat.
It's funny.
A low connection count too. 170.
Oh no.
Oh wow.
And there's another little thing as well. He was a circus trapeze performer.
Oh wow.
So really, really interesting how they get into Hollywood and by what occupation. So I guess if you look up maybe on a census way back when, you'll see circus performer or something like that on it. But if he's got a low CC7, definitely somebody out there, pick him up, add to it. One of my favorites, Vincent Price. He doesn't love Vincent Price, and this is October, and it's Halloweenish, and it's perfect.
And I have to say, Sandy, he is your closest at 18 degrees.
He is.
And he is my closest at 19 degrees.
I love this. I mean, again, you recognize his face, but you definitely recognize his voice. You hear it. He played along Charleston Heston in the Ten Commandments and I got so much to share, but I think everybody knows this one. I'm going to say it anyway. Vincent Price played the voice narration in Michael Jackson's song, The Thriller. So if you think back in, at the beginning and they start talking about it, and there's a little bit of narration throughout there, that was all Vincent Price did that. So it's kind of cool to see somebody back from the time come into the pop world into a different mom as well. So I love his surprise. And that picture just looks old wood, doesn't it? It just looks glam.
Dignified.
Okay, and then Oliver Reed. He co-starred in Treasure Island with Charleston Heston. And this one, I didn't know this one. This was another one that Mike helped me with. This one was very interesting. I don't even know if I knew of him, his name, but I knew his face. So if you guys remember the movie Gladiator, and he died halfway through filming the movie Gladiator. And it's kind of a tragic story, but it's also one of those classic stories. He had challenged a group of sailors to a drinking contest. And he was, Oliver was a heavy drinker, so he challenged him to a drinking contest, said he didn't feel well, laid down on a pub floor, and died.
Wow, I did not know that.
Halfway through the movie Gladiator. And he has a scar too that's kind of like right here on his chin. I'm trying to get which side's right. He thought it would damage his career, but they said keep it. It gave him character.
Yeah. Yep.
So you can kind of see the scar going down, and they said, "Nah, you give something to your character and to your roles." But I didn't realize that he was in Gladiator. I recognized the face, but I didn't recognize the name that went along with it. And then next we have Cornell Wilde, the great who co-starred Greatest Show on Earth. Love that show. That was really a great movie. That was interesting. So he goes more by his you see where it's Cornell, and he was born in Slovakia, but he goes more by just just well a lot of times. But he fenced for Columbia University team and won the National Novice Foils Championship in 1929.
Wow.
Another one I just didn't know much
Yeah.
about until I started digging around and finding out more about him. Some of his movies I've seen, but The Greatest Show on Earth is just an awesome movie. If everybody wants something to do today, just go pick up some of these old movies we're talking about and have a binge fest. You'll enjoy it.
Yeah,
And then the last
old movies.
I know, the black and white ones are just my favorite. I can sit there and get lost on those. And I was surprised. Stephanie Zimbalist from The Awakening co-starred with him, and she's still living, I think.
Yeah.
So she's the only one that we have that is living. And some of you might know, if you do know old movies, that she's the granddaughter of Ephraim Zimbalist, who's also a famous actor. So she comes from a really interesting family. She played in Remington Steele with Pierce Bronson.
I like Pierce Brosnan. I like that show.
I know, I do
Yeah, I
too.
love that show.
And her great grandfather was a symphony conductor as well. And the Zimbalist family is very much into music. They have sopranos, internationally recognized sopranos, as well as concert pianists, violinists, if I get it right, and conductors. So she comes from a very musical family, and she went to acting.
Wow.
So that's pretty good. So
yeah.
I'm going to guess that most people will probably recognize out of this, besides Charlton Heston, I'm going to guess, I don't know, what do you guys think? Who most people have either seen a movie from one of these people, or recognize the face or the name? I'm going to think Vincent Price, maybe.
Faye Dunaway.
Yeah.
And Burt Lancaster, I would say.
Yeah. Oh,
But
Chuck Connors. We didn't Chuck Connors.
Oh, Chuck Connors. Oh yeah, and how can I forget Burt Lancaster? Yeah. This is classic movie, From Here to Eternity.
Yeah.
Totally forgot that movie. Yeah. Oh wow, Kathy, you've got all three that are close. Chuck Connors, Soylent Green. Let's see, he was a professional basketball and baseball player. This is very interesting. So if you're into sports, or if you're working with David Randall's Sports Notables, this would be one that you really want to get to know, and maybe look at the others that I'm going to mention. He was one of only 13 athletes in the history of American professional sports to have played in both Major League Baseball and the National Basketball Association. So anybody out there that's interested in sports, pick up those 13 and add them to WikiTree and see if you can expand and connect them as well. The name might not be familiar, but everybody probably recognizes his face, that smile and that hat, because he was on the TV show The Rifleman.
Yeah, I recognize.
Thanks, Azure.
Yeah,
I know that smile and that grin in the hat and the cowboy shirt. So that's the profiles of the week. Thanks for driving, Asher.
Oh, thank you. And you know what? I didn't realize, I was quickly looking up who was our closest, and Azure is closest to James Coburn.
Oh,
at
wow.
15 degrees.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So awesome. Well, now we're going to go to question of the week. And the question of the week is, have you found any diaries from your ancestors? I only had a chance to go through the G2G post. I didn't look at Facebook or the other social media. We had 15 responses, and things I noticed just as trends. People were also bringing up having letters from ancestors, which I think are a very similar, wonderful window into someone's personality. Just anything that's in their voice. And so, people wrote about letters, and it seemed like a lot of people had diaries that were written by ancestors when they were serving in the military. That seemed to come up frequently. So we can look through, since there are only 15. Let's look at what we had. Let's see. Kate Bergen was saying that she had letters her dad wrote to his mother because she forced him to. We always talk about this amongst ourselves with these questions of the week. Azure, Sandy, do you have diaries or letters?
Yeah,
my mom
I have
found one of my diaries, and we burned it.
Wait, whose diary did you burn?
Mine.
Oh.
My mom found it. It's like when you're 10 years old and you're like, I hate life, I hate my mom, I hate my dad, I hate this, I don't want to go to school, I want this. And she read it, and I was like, so we burned it together. So no more diaries, and didn't find any. But as you have some?
Yeah, I had, my aunt was into genealogy big time, and so I had a whole pile of letters that she had written out to family members all over the US, trying to get some more information. And so, yeah, that was really
Do you have the letters? Do you have the letters back? That's so cool that she did that. That was back in the day when you had to do the letters.
Yeah. Yeah, some of them were like 1950s, 1960s. So it's really neat.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
What about you, Betsy?
Well, I started keeping a diary myself when I was 6, and I was very faithful from like 6 to 13, and that, like, in terms of writing every single day. And I have not burned them yet. They're actually an entertaining read, like once every 10 years. I do have two sets of letters where I'm lucky enough to have both sides of the correspondence.
Wow, that's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, one of them was my letters that I lived in Taiwan for a summer in college, and I have all the letters that I wrote to my parents, plus, of course, so they kept those, and then I had what they sent me. So I was able to put those all together. And that was fascinating. And
I have, when my dad passed, he in his papers, he had all the cards and stuff, and the same with my aunt that I had sent them. So I got those. That was kind of nice to get those back. I had forgotten I had sent some of them.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun to see.
I know what you mean. Yeah. So let's see what else. Kathy Forbes has diaries written by her great grandfather, including his years as a soldier in the Civil War. That would be a fascinating read. A few of her grandfather's diaries, mother's diaries, and mentioned feeling a little uneasy reading them. And I know that feeling. That one set of letters I was talking about where I was one of the parties back and forth. I have no problem with that. But I have another set of letters that's between two people, and I'm not either of them. And it does sort of feel like you're eavesdropping. But Let's.
The question is, what will everybody do with these? Will they digitize them?
I know, yeah. So some people mentioned definitely transcribing them because of legibility issues, making them into a free space page so that they're available for the world. So yeah. And now this next one brings up a point that I saw a couple of times, that people had the diaries or knew of the diaries and they got destroyed. Like Ruth said, that her husband's grandmother wrote this daily diary from 1917 to the 90s. And unfortunately, when we cleaned out her home, it was before I was interested in genealogy, and they were all destroyed. Oh. And then I remember somebody else writing about loaning a diary or some letters to somebody else in the family and then never getting it back. Oh. So, oh yeah, that was this next one. Another relative asked to borrow it and never brought it back. I have a copy of a small part, but not the whole thing. See. Oh, this one, Andy Hort says he has a diary kept by his third great grandmother in 1825 when she and her parents undertook the grand tour of Europe, going through France, Italy, Switzerland, Germany, Belgium, and back to France. And he transcribed it because of the handwriting difficulties. And he said the descriptions of the galleries and churches she visited were fascinating. Yeah. More people talking about letters. This person I guess, has a blog and has digitized the diaries there. Like Azure was mentioning, going through people's papers, you just never know. So M. Ross, going through their grandfather's papers, found documents from his World War I diary, photos from when he was in the British Navy, and a letter from Winston Churchill.
Wow.
Yeah. We are finalizing arrangements to have all the docs scanned by a company that specializes in scanning antique documents. Surprisingly, it isn't going to cost 2 arms and 2 legs. Well, that's
Yeah, I'm surprised.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
John.
really important to get those things digitized.
Yeah.
Photos and papers,
Mhm.
journals, anything like that. Get them digitized and create a free space page. And
Right. Yeah, and that's not to say that you trash the original. Definitely not. But it's just
like a
preservation.
backup.
Yeah, and once you digitize, then you can share widely with many people. And
I think that's the thing too, and because WikiTree is free, you can, like Azure said, how many space pages do we put up with old historical books? This is no different.
Yeah.
You don't have to be published author from way back when to create a space page with all this type of information. Because WikiTree is free, it's amazing how many people will love finding this
Oh,
research.
yeah. Yeah.
Because
And great,
otherwise you're behind a paywall and and you're frustrated. But no, you don't have that with WikiTree. This is a great idea.
and it's a great cousin bait too.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. John Baskey says, I don't have diaries, but I have a shoebox full of letters between my grandma and Grandpa Baskey from when Grandpa was fighting in the South Pacific with the Navy in World War II. I have read quite a few of them. Some I wish I hadn't.
Oh, no. And we'll leave it at that. We won't ask why, John, or do we need to know?
The emoji says it all.
I
So
love seeing the image there. That's cool.
the what as?
The image of I love seeing the handwriting of that one.
Yeah. And this does not look a short narrative of the life of John Hatchett. It doesn't look hard to read as handwriting goes. Let's see, what is it? Well, I don't know which he's talking about. Steve is talking about 2 in his possession, and I'm not sure which one this is. A couple of entries are kind of funny. Quote, the day I was supposed to get married, but didn't, unquote. Had to go to sea unexpectedly. Well, that would be a major bummer. Okay. And more. Oh, one from the gold rush. That's interesting.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, 1850. Yep. Roger says there are several family diaries that have been published, but like Jill, I have all of my grandfather's letters to my grandmother during World War II. Interestingly, he was responsible for acting as the censor on his own letters, and he told me he wrote whatever he wanted.
That's funny.
Yeah. Somebody has Nancy's in the chat. Hey, Nancy, said she has a copy of Spencer Records' memoir that my grandfather typed up in 1921 while he was a student at Purdue University.
Wow.
It was published in 1959 in the Indiana Magazine of History, now available online.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, people are talking about more free space pages. I love these. This Pip is talking about a diary his mother-in-law kept from junior high until after graduation. I think those diaries from when people are young are fascinating.
Yeah. And
And
we've got a lot of people talking about all the different diaries and notebooks or letters in the chat too. We got lots of comments there.
And then Lucas Murphy says, I have farm account books from the 1870s.
Cool.
Yeah, from his ancestor Alexander Patrick. Inside, several of the children practice writing their names. Oh, this is really nice.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And what's cool about this is he actually lives in an old historic house on a farm. So these books are probably related to his farm and house called Meadowstone, which is also a one-place study on WikiTree.
So cool. Oh my goodness, he says also, second paragraph, my college roommate had a trunk with about 50 journals in it that her great-grandmother talk about a mother load. Whew.
Yeah.
The great-grandmother had been the daughter of a politician and did not lead the farm life that all my ancestors did. Well, that would be true. Interesting. Well, thank you everyone who posted, and obviously I had to sort of skim this G2G post is great reading, so please go and give them upvotes, and so that everybody can know that their stuff's been read. So let's see, how are we doing? A video recording of my mom talking to her sister.
That would be so nice.
Yeah. I wonder how old were they at the time of that? That would be interesting to know. Okay, I guess it's time for some photos. We've turned the page on the calendar. In October's theme for photos is family, and we've got 7 answers. So is the size good, everybody?
Yeah, it looks good.
Good. Okay. Wow. I'm just looking at the expression on the mother's face. So intense. John Vasky. This is a portrait. Yeah. It's his paternal grandfather's family from about 1920. It has my great-grandparents, John and Rosie. On the left is the oldest son, John. On the right is the middle son, Albert. And my grandfather, Mike, is sitting on Rosie's lap. Grandpa John died of black lung disease in 1962 from working the coal mines most of his life, and his son John died in the 1940s of ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease. So I never got to meet them. The rest of them were a hoot to grow up around. Huh. Wow. Beautiful. Oh, and look at her shoes too.
Wow,
Or is that,
yeah.
it almost looks like a heel, but I think that's the chair.
Oh,
Okay.
I see.
But still beautiful white shoes.
Yes.
Yeah. Who's this from? Alexis. Oh,
Cute.
this is a 1924 photo of my maternal grandparents, Scott and Nellie Marvin, with my mother and her younger brother. They are living in Osage County, Oklahoma when this photo was taken. My grandfather was an oil field driller. Beautiful. Oh, her hat. Actually, all three of their hats. He's got this little sailor hat on. Oh,
So adorable.
I know. I know. Pat Miller. Oh, this is a gorgeous one.
Nice.
The family of her great granduncle, Robert Boyd Miller, his wife Victoria, and their 6 children. There are so few in her family. There are very few pictures of mother, father, and children. So this is a treasure for that reason. Photos from June 1904. We often talk about how children feel about their parents, but how do parents feel about their children? In this case, Robert and Victoria were very proud, but perhaps missing them because the children had left the hometown for distant places. Robert died in the home of his daughter, Ida, at the age of 86.
Hmm.
That's really,
Five
really
boys, though. Only one girl.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm looking at this style, of her
Yeah.
dress. Really, really beautiful.
Nice picture.
Yeah. Here we have the early 1930s Peacock family reunion at the original homestead in Innisfil, Ontario. I hope I'm saying that right. The
That
land
is
was
wonderful.
Yeah, big gathering. The land was originally settled in about 1830 by my husband's 4 times great-grandfather, John Peacock. This is M. Ross. I do have a list of names for the approximately 70 people who attended this event. Wow, to have that list?
Yeah.
That's like a watch list. And you can
Yeah.
go through it and, oh, wow. But I don't have any idea what name belongs to which face in this picture. That would be hard.
Yeah.
The event was organized by the 6 great-grandsons of John Peacock.
Hmm.
Huh. Thanks. Vicky's in the chat. Hey, Vicky.
Oh, nice.
I've just returned from my parents' house with lots of things my mom gave me. Old photos and old letters from my great-great-grandmother. So this topic is perfect for a collage of my new treasures. Wow. I'm going to blow that up a little. Oh, Vicky, is that you?
That is so great.
Fantastic. Ah, and these 3 little ones here. Beautiful. All right. And I think we have maybe 2 more. Newborn.
That's so sweet.
Rhonda Schneringer, North Dakota, 1942. Dan Gately, wife and newborn daughter. You can't tell in this picture, but Dan is an Irish boy with red hair and brown eyes. I also love in these photos, just being transported to the place and
Yeah.
seeing the signs and the fonts and license plates. If Mags was here, I'm sure she could identify this car.
Yep. Hi, Vicky.
Hey, Vicky. And then our last one for today is from Roger Stong. Here's a picture of my great grandfather Matthias, and his seven brothers, 8 boys on a hunting trip. At their poor mother at Kunersdorf in 1900. Matthias is the leftmost standing man. So I guess that's him. Wow. And I was going to say they all have mustaches, but 2 of them do not. 2 of them, yeah, but otherwise they're sporting very fine mustaches. Excellent. So, yeah, there's a couple more weeks of October. So we've only just begun. Please post your family photos. I have to think about what I would like to post. So
we love seeing them.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's tip time.
Yay!
Yay, tip. So this tip comes from, and I'm getting there. I'm getting to my proper screen. Okay, so this tip is, well, actually, let me go here. Okay, so this tip is from Sally Kimball, who I don't think is sometimes with us. So I don't think I see her in the chat right now. So she wrote that. Well, let me. I do this so often, I forget it's a hack. So when using the Sourcer browser extension in Family Search to make citations for all sources, she has a way. Well, she mentions that as we've probably seen, many of us, often you get multiple citations for the same event. For example, a marriage record, even as many as 5, 6, or 7. But these are not all the same. Some have images, some don't. And of course, like if it's a toss-up between a record that has the image or not, I want the one with the image. And I probably don't want, duplicates, that don't have an image. So and we're going to do an example. What she said, what I do is paste them in my draft profile, then use the preview function to give me the draft in a form that has live links. Then right-click each one in a new tab, look at the records in the order that they would appear in the profile, and whittle the number down to the best 1 or 2 with the most useful images. That way, there aren't a bunch of duplicate records from the same source. If none of them has an image, I can still leave the best one, go to another site, and add another link from there. So I went to one of the 7-degree connections, Susanna Luce Biddle, and I saw that I have a few sources for her, but not. I'm sure there are many more. So then I went to Family Search. Oh, and I'm logged out. Hang on. Okay. And I ran her sources. Boom. There are 11 of them, including 2 marriage records. So then I went to Sourcer. And what you're going to do, in case you don't know this trick, this is great, build all citations. And now this is important to note. It says these are inline citations and should be pasted before the sources heading. So, okay, let's go back to Susanna. Go into edits. Now I'm going to go before sources. So, okay, now I'm going to paste those. And let's look at the 2 marriage. Oh, and then go into preview. Okay. So now we're in preview and we can see I had done three sources. So here's where the imports began. And you can see that for her marriage, we have 5 and 6. So let's go down to 5 and 6. And you can see that the family search records are distinct. They are not the same. So I'm going to go first. I'm going to right click here. And I'm going to right click on the next one. Okay, now let's look at them. Here's the first one. No image. We have a date, place. Okay, so a little bare bones. Now, if we go to the next image, alas, also no image. But we also have a bit more detail with this from the source. I would consider that this would, this would be helpful information, especially if I were to ever get, say, to the National Archives or wherever this information, this source is coming from. So then maybe I could.
Interestingly enough, at the top of the source,
Yeah.
it says it's being retired.
Oh, that's interesting. So that means if I were to save this, then it would go away.
Yeah, so you might like make a note in research notes about the source detail.
Yeah, yeah, because this is from, let's see, this is from England Marriages, 38 to 1973, and then the other one is it's from the same source.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So you can see this is a good way to compare without, in an efficient way. So
yep.
Great. Thanks. So thank you, Sally. Do you want to, while I get ready for Celebrate Your Ancestors, do you want to talk about what's going on this week in WikiTree land?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. So Eowyn does this post every month for us, providing links and information about what's happening around WikiTree each month. So here is the post for October. And just to let everybody know, all these places that we've been going to, all the G2G posts are actually down in the description of this video. So if you want to go check those out, they're there. But this post, I believe, is pinned in the G2G every month. So it's going to be highlighted right at the top, I think. So we have lots going on. So today is this October 7th. We have the Saturday Roundup where we're at right now. October 9th to the 16th, Data Doctors Challenge. And then, of course, Hacktoberfest is happening all month long. And so October 12th is the next broadcast, same channel that you're on right now. And then the same day at 1:30 p.m. Eastern is the German Stammtisch. October 13th is Friday Date Night. And then again, we have the Weekend Chat, which will be in G2G, coming up on the 13th to the 15th. October 14th is a Saturday Sourcing Sprint. And then back here next Saturday, I think it will be Betsy and Sandy. Will you be back next Saturday?
Maybe.
Okay.
Possibly. I'm back in Georgia, so yay.
Yeah, I'll be here next Saturday.
And I think Eowyn and I will probably be here. I think Greg and Mags are still going to be. Are they going to be?
Well, Greg has a math conference.
That's right.
And I can't remember Mags's schedule.
Okay. Yeah. So, but there'll be somebody here.
Yep, you'll be here.
Yeah. So that's what's happening around the tree.
Yeah, great. And I apologize if you mentioned this, but new member Zoom tomorrow. We have a new.
Yeah.
There's one more October new member Zoom with me tomorrow morning, 11 in the morning Eastern time. So 3 in the afternoon UTC time. Yes, it is not listed. Doris says it's not listed. I'm going to quickly just drop the G2G post in the
Okay.
chat.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Sorry about that. We'd love to have you,
And
Doris.
not just new members, all members can
Yes.
always learn from the tips.
Yes.
Yes, and Hillary will be there, and Murray was with came and was co-hosting with me on Thursday. So yeah, they'll both be
Be
there
there,
as
be square, he says.
Right, crack me up.
well. All right, and so are we ready to celebrate an ancestor?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay. So the ancestor that we are celebrating, let me, oh, did I have to reshare my screen. Share screen. And great. Okay. So this is from Susan Ellen Smith. She says, this is really paints a portrait. Her grandmother, Nana, Marie May Ida Ehrlich Smith, was born on Halloween, 1899, in Brooklyn, New York. And she was generally a soft-spoken woman, unless something happened that she didn't want the neighbors to hear. Then she would start yelling to us in a panicked voice about the neighbors. The worst happened in 1956 when her son, my Uncle Harry, was shot by his wife. The news picked up the story in New Jersey. The story was in the newspaper and on radio. Poor Nana was screaming, "What about the neighbors?" while her son was in the hospital.
Oh
That is my.
no.
I really hope Uncle Harry was okay. Susan was 7 at this time. When she died in 1995 at the age of 96, she had only a few strands of gray hair. And I will show you the photos. Susan was also born in October, on October 30th. So and she was born the day before Nana's 50th birthday. So here is the profile. And she had German roots, was a New Yorker, like go New York, like me. And we have some really gorgeous photos here of her. And there's one of her with Susan.
Oh, how wonderful.
No, let's look at that one.
That's so sweet.
You guys have sort of the same smile. Yeah, it's beautiful. So keep those coming in. I have one more to share next week, but I would love more. So we love to celebrate your ancestors. So just go to your anniversaries tab and look for people who have events of importance in October.
All right. Should I share the social media page?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So I'm just going to scroll down here. Something I want to bring up that we're doing every day. And I'm going to drop the link in the chat for today's video broadcast out on YouTube here. Same channel. We're doing a 30-day countdown to WikiTree Day. And every day we'll be posing a question or asking for photos, or just every day it's a different post. And you respond and you'll be entered into the drawing for the day. So that's today's link. Go check that out. We had, of course, this week, it's the first week of the month. So we had the Ask Alesh. We had the first Hacktoberfest video. Then we had Thursday also, we had your first Q&A session out on Zoom. And then the connection finder, of course, we just went through. Charlton Heston.
I just want to mention too that for the connection finder, everybody posts up on G2G the question of the week for the connection finder. We had one member, Donna, who offered up 5, and they were all picked.
Wow. So the spotlight profile of the week is Libba Cotton. So that short video is out on YouTube and out on the different social media. So you guys can go out, click those links on your favorite social media channel and share it out wherever you can. And Ralph Gear is our member of the week. And then here are the links for the 12 Photos family, the Celebrate Your Ancestors, and then Chris Ferriolo has the 52 ancestors he does every week. So check those out. So that's it for social media.
All right, cool. And I just John was mentioning that his paternal grandfather has an October birthday and death date. So John, reply. I just dropped for John and everybody. There's a Celebrate Your Ancestors in October link. So tell us about them so we can feel like we got to know them a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. We love hearing all the stories.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing all the pictures and they're wonderful.
Yeah.
All right. So do we have anything else we need to do? Did we do it?
I think we did it. Yeah. 10:01. What is happening? This is the shortest Saturday Roundup livecast.
Well, I've had a lot of fun being here with you all.
It was so great doing this with both of you. Thank you. And thanks for everybody joining and everyone watching afterward.
Bye.
Bye.